let's talk about the 90 Day The Single Life Tell-All Part 2. I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked when I saw that this was the last part of the tell-all, because we've seen tell-alls have 4 or 5 parts, but I guess that kind of goes to show that there wasn't a lot that happened this season. So let's start off with Courtney and Colt. So we learned that Courtney ended up getting called out by Colt because apparently they bring Phil out, and Phil revealed that Courtney and Colt had broken up for a few months. Colt revealed this in a Between the Sheets episode that they had broken up at one point, but I didn't know it was for a whole 2 months. I figured it was for like a few days or a week and they got right back together, but no, they had broken up for a few months. And during this few months, Courtney decided to hit up Colt. And people are like, girl, why would you hit up Colt after all this? And she tried to say that she felt bad for Colt. But Colt was in a whole nother country with Diana in Brazil. And she's telling him, yeah, let's go to Mexico and let's go get a hotel together and we can travel and stay together. And Courtney was trying to deny that she offered Colt a chance to stay together. She's like, no, I didn't say that. Then she ran it back and she's like, well, I offered everybody a chance to stay together if they wanted to. But I just kind of feel like Courtney has a bad habit of blaming her actions on everyone else. She kept wanting to say, oh, I feel bad for Colt. I feel bad for Colt. But I mean, nobody's like holding a gun to your head and forcing you to invite this man on a vacation. I understand that there are parts where you feel bad for Colt, like when he fell and had to have that surgery. But using that excuse at this point, I don't know, it just doesn't seem very valid to me. It kind of seems like you wanted to hang out with him and see where things could go because you're just so lonely at the point that you're willing to accept whatever. And Diana, Colt's girlfriend, they brought her at the tell-all, and she even called Courtney out for that. And Courtney was like, well, Colt has no room to talk because he was talking to this one girl, and this girl ended up sending me messages. So I guess Colt went to Canada at one point, and he was trying to make it sound like he was going to visit his mom in Canada. Well, come to find out, this girl from Canada ended up DMing Courtney, and she's like, yeah, Colt's been hit me up. He wants to come hang out with me and see me. And as soon as Diana heard that, it all clicked for her. She's like, yeah, he was just in Canada. He's talking to a girl in Canada. Okay, it makes sense that he was doing more than just visiting Debbie in Canada. And she got mad. She was heartbroken. She was crying. At the very end of the tell-all, she told Colt that she never wanted to see him again. Like, she was kind of remind me of Jessica when Jessica found out that he was talking to Vanessa. She was blowing up on him and screaming at him over the phone and told him to leave her alone. And then Colt hands the phone to Pedro. Like, Pedro's gonna somehow calm this girl down after she's absolutely devastated after finding out about your cheating. And Pedro doesn't know what to say. He's like, so what happened? I was like, oh my gosh, I felt bad for Pedro in that moment. If that was Pedro, if he would have passed me the phone, I just would have passed the phone off to somebody else. But what Pedro had to say, he was just asking her questions, and she wasn't really trying to talk about it anymore. And eventually, she screamed at Colt, hung up, and then Colt got mad. So he was like, you know what, guys? I'm going to go ahead and leave the tell-all. I have no reason to be here anymore. I think he wanted to hurry up and leave before any more of his tea was spilled. So he went ahead and told the producers, yeah, get this damn mic off me. I'm going to leave. And while he was getting ready to leave, Courtney wants to walk up, and she's like, oh, I feel bad. I'm going to go call him out because he's sitting here lying to Diana, trying to act like it's all a lie. So she walks up, and she even had the receipts that they showed at the tell-all of Colt hitting this girl up, like showing that this isn't just fake. But Colt, I think he just knows that this is going to be the end for him and Diana, so he's trying to do anything he can to hold on to this. So he's purposely lying and gaslighting Diana like it never happened, even though there's evidence that it did. Then Courtney, she goes from saying, oh, I'm going to call his ass out, to the next thing you know, she walks up to Colt. She sees he's all depressed. He gets an attitude with her, like, go away, you've already ruined enough for me. And then Courtney's like, well, what can I do? Like, she was willing to pick up the phone and act like to Diana it never happened before Colt ended up walking off. I'm like, girl, do not do that. Come on. Like, then you're going to have this girl going back to him thinking you're a liar. You're going to have the whole world thinking you're a liar if you turn around and do that, even though there are receipts. And I mean, come on, girl code, you gotta at least look out for her and let her know, like, hey, this man is actually a freaking dog. And then she said that she is done with Colt. I guess as soon as Colt yelled at her, he ended up taking off his mic and he ended up leaving. I was surprised the producers let him leave. They tried to fight with him. They're like, come on, please just stay for a few more minutes. You got a few more things to say. He's like, no, I'm going now. And when he left, Diana hit up Cortney and she's like, hey, and I'm sure she was probably trying to ask Cortney what all she knew, and Cortney decided to block Diana and Colt. And she ended up doing a Q&A on her Instagram page the other day where she answered some questions from fans, and this is what she had to say about some things. One person said, why did you suggest that Colt move into your boyfriend's home? And she said, in hindsight, it was probably a bad decision. I was raised to treat people the way that you want to be treated. I felt sorry for him. I felt guilt, responsibility to help, and I didn't want him permanently disabled. Motels were expensive, unsafe, diseases, violent, depressing. I looked at it from every perspective. He lied, he cheated, he manipulated, so F him, and we shouldn't have dated. I should help. He's in this position because he was a friend of me, and I didn't want him permanently disabled or something bad to happen. And let's be honest, I think a lot of the reason why Cortney went after Colt to begin with is because it was an easy way to stay on the show. I'm sure they both had genuine feelings, but I'm sure that's another benefit that they both saw in each other. And then someone asked her, is Phil retired? What does he do for work? You guys live in the Villages too. And she said, yes, he's retired. He had an HVAC company, and now we flip houses together. He helped my family move to the Villages and loved the area, so I sold him a house here. The new season of Diaries will show our wedding planning and living situation. Someone else asked her if she was on Ozempic, which she shared a weight loss shot. She said she's never tried Ozempic. She takes GLP-1 tirzepatide or something like that. And she says she lost 20 or 30 pounds in the first month, and now she's lost like 60 pounds, and she eats out every day and snacks. And then someone asked her if Phil's been married before, and she said she thinks it would be a red flag if he was 66 and never been married. It's a good sign that he talks to his sons every day, and we go to dinner with his sons and granddaughters. And then someone asked, is Phil older than your dad? No judgment, just curious. And she said, my parents are a few years older. I think that generation might be better quality. In modern dating, people act like everyone is disposable, or they have an endless supply online and always looking for the next best thing. And then someone asked her what made her get on the show, and she said, I didn't know I signed up for a 90 Day Fiancé. At the time, I was backpacking for a year, and I saw a vague flyer on Girls Love to Travel Facebook group, and I thought that it was a travel show. Then she shared where she got her towel dress from. I guess it was Amazon. And then someone asked her if Phil ever watched 90 Day, and she said, Phil didn't really like that I was on a TV show, social media, or helping my ex. And then someone said, are Phil's sons older than you? Does that make things awkward? And she said, yeah, it's kind of awkward, but everyone's okay with it. Some are older and some are younger. His youngest is 18, graduating high school, and then he has some kids that are in their 30s. Then she said her and Phil are both about 5'10". When she wears heels, she's a little bit taller than him. And then someone asked her if she's just in it for the money when it comes to Phil, and she said, personality is the most important. My parents made sure I was financially responsible and not dependent on no man. And then someone asked, why did Phil move out of that house? And she said, no, we downsized. He doesn't want me bringing any more homeless people to live with us. And then someone said, did you support yourself or have a job before 90 Day Fiancé? And she said, I quit my job to travel in 2016. When I applied for the show, I wasn't working for 1 year. Now I do social media and real estate, and me and Phil flip houses. Then someone asked, I'm not sure if you want kids or not. Freeze your eggs in case you change your mind. And Cortney said, I have eczema and allergies, so I don't want to freeze my eggs. I don't want the pain, mental health issues of pregnancy and birth. Right now, I don't want kids. In the future, I'm open to adoption or fostering, or maybe a puppy or two. And then someone said, why didn't you send him to Debbie in the first place so she can take care of her own son? And Cortney said, she's in Canada. It was snowing and she can barely walk herself. The doctor says high risk for blood clots to fly far, and then his insurance was in the United States. And then someone asked her, how does she stay so positive? And she says she suffers from anxiety, but she just tries to gaslight herself that she's excited and high energy and not anxious. But that's pretty much it for the tell-all with Cortney and Colt. And then they had Gino reveal that he's been talking to this girl Lexi. This girl lives with her baby daddy, but she claims she's not banging her baby daddy. And they had Jasmine come out. That part to me was boring. I don't really feel like recapping the whole thing. But let me know what you guys thought about the Single Life tell-all as a whole. And what did you guys think about Ross Matthews hosting? I actually liked Ross. I felt like he had really great follow-up questions. You know, I know they're limited to what TLC tells them they can ask. And so a lot of the questions seem like really basic or surface level. But it felt like the follow-up questions that Ross was asking was getting to the T, getting somewhere, and I appreciate that. But let me know what you guys think, and thank you so much for watching.